This is no longer just a regional conflict. We are witnessing the beginning of a global shockwave that is redefining the world as we know it. The recent direct military confrontations between major powers in West Asia have sent ripples reaching far beyond the borders of the desert. The question is no longer who started it, but what this war will do to the global order. We are looking at a fundamental shift in energy security, trade routes, and international law. To understand the true scale of this crisis, we must first look at the lifeblood of the global economy: energy. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar account for roughly 30% of the world's total oil production. In a fragile economy, this is a critical vulnerability. Nearly every major refinery and pipeline in the region is now within striking distance of ballistic missiles and long-range drones. Nowhere is this risk more concentrated than in the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow waterway that acts as the world's jugular vein. Every single day, 20 million barrels of oil and 25% of the world's liquefied natural gas pass through this single choke point. Asian economies, from China to Japan, rely almost entirely on this route. For them, a closure isn't just a price hike, it's an existential threat. Iran has long maintained the capability to shut down the strait using naval mines, anti-ship missiles, and swarms of drones. Even the mere threat of a blockade has caused shipping insurance premiums to spike, driving up costs before a single shot is fired. Market analysts warn that if the conflict escalates further, we could see oil prices double overnight, shattering the global economic recovery. This energy shock would fuel inflation in every sector, from food production to travel, hitting the poorest nations the hardest. Next, we must look at the second pillar of this crisis: the paralysis of global trade routes. The Red Sea is the primary artery connecting Asia to Europe, but today that artery is being systematically constricted. Since late 2023, the Houthis have launched over 40 attacks on commercial vessels, using everything from ballistic missiles to suicide boats. The result? Container ship transits through the Suez Canal have plummeted by 70%, leaving one of the world's busiest ports ghost-like. Ships are now forced to take the long way around, adding 10 to 14 days of travel time around the southern tip of Africa. This detour isn't just a delay. Freight and insurance costs have tripled, with the extra distance adding millions in fuel expenses per voyage. From electronics to essential medicines, the world is paying the price for the insecurity of the seas. Supply chains are snapping under the pressure. Nations like Egypt are facing a massive financial blow, losing nearly $800 million in monthly revenue as the canal sits idle. Third, and perhaps most dangerous, is the erosion of the international legal order. For decades, the global order was built on a rules-based system, but today, the definition of self-defense is being pushed to its breaking point. Israel's strikes on Iranian nuclear facilities are framed as preemptive self-defense, but international legal bodies argue this sets a dangerous precedent for unprovoked force. Conversely, Iran's retaliatory strikes have been condemned for using indiscriminate cluster munitions in civilian areas, a clear violation of humanitarian law. Then there's the question of proxy warfare. Who is legally responsible when a non-state group uses state-supplied missiles to cripple global trade? If might becomes the only rule, we return to an era of anarchy. This conflict is the ultimate test for the institutions that were supposed to prevent world wars. Finally, we must address the most sobering impact of all: the collapse of global deterrence. Regimes across the world are watching this conflict and drawing a terrifying conclusion about the price of not having a nuclear umbrella. Iran is being attacked without a nuclear weapon. North Korea, despite its rhetoric, is not. The survival formula for every ambitious regime has just changed. By late 2024, Iran had already enriched uranium to 60%, a level close to weapons grade. The window for a diplomatic solution is closing. If nuclear weapons become the only guarantee of survival, we will see an explosion of proliferation. The arms race of the 21st century has already begun. The conflict is also moving into the heart of global tourism and commerce. Recent fires in Dubai's Palm Jumeirah have shattered the illusion of regional safety. Whether it was a direct strike or falling debris from an interception, the message is clear: the war has reached the centers of global business. Energy insecurity, trade collapse, a crumbling legal order, and a new, more dangerous arms race. We are not just watching a war, we are watching a world being redefined. History shows us that wars don't just destroy cities, they destroy the systems we all live by. The old rules no longer apply. We must prepare for a future where stability is a luxury, not a given. I'm IG narrator DS Shell for P for Frontline USA. Thank you for watching.